everyone, I am Lola Kyle and welcome to today's episode of Quirky Opinions. Today our topic will focus around too much of a good thing. We all have those books that we thoroughly enjoy and we have our preferred genres. But it's seeing the same subject matter in a different book with the different characters monotonous? Personally, I think so. And I would explain why. Recently, I was reading a book. I bought a book, and at first glance, it had me excited. The cover was awesome. I was like, yes, this is a good book. I mean, yes, I'm guilty. I judged the book by the cover. So what? And I read the synopsis in the back, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a good plot. I cannot wait to read it. I was like, one click, paperback. That's what we're talking about, a to be read list. And I was so excited about finding this book, I just skipped over everything else on my to be read list, all 200 books, and I put that first, and I started to read. I did. I started to read. And I was like, ooh, Dragon Princess, Dragon King. She was captured. Hot Knight. Meow. Ooh, awesome superpowers. Yes. Hello. I'm reading it and I'm reading. And then chapter 2. BDSM club. BDSM. 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 More BDSM. Flogging. And my heart, my soul, my brain, it just went, oh, it's one of those books. I must admit that I was disappointed. I was looking forward to reading this book. I mean, I done skipped over 200 books that I wanted to read just so I can read this book. And let me just throw this disclaimer out there that this is not directed to any one person. Dragons are just a proxy. I'm just saying it's just a proxy, and I'm just speaking in general. BDSM is also just a proxy. I am just speaking in general. What I've been observing in the literary world in the past couple of months. Why is it that we feel the need to stick BDSM in everything of late? I mean, don't get me wrong, I like a good smut. I like some DS relationship sessions and some spankings and some candle wax and all that good bondage stuff. But I fear that we're over milking this BDSM niche. Like, we're just plugging it in everything. I mean, stick that in some YA. Stick that in some paranormal. Stick that in some romance, in some thriller, in some horror. Just stick the BDSM everywhere. Like, gold star for you. Gold star for you. This constant plugging and milking of the BDSM niche is turning it into, well, bull. Do you remember when Twilight first came out? And it was like super popular? And everybody and their uncle was writing about vampires? You would ask about a book for about zombies, and people like, zombie? What is that? I mean, they were practically zombies themselves, because the only thing they could think about was vampires, where zombies thought about brains. You ask for a Shifter series as a recommendation, is like, wasn't Jacob a shifter in Twilight? This is when the definition of McDreamy was a vampire that sparkled, And the girl next door became someone whose facial expressions rivaled those of a doormat. Don't get me wrong, we like what we like, but constantly trying to fit something in where it doesn't belong is just wrong in my opinion. I mean, who, what kind of person would imagine or think of putting dragons and sully it with something as trivial as sex? It's like you had this awesome train of thought where you're like, dragons of magical powers, of fire breath, ice breath, mesmerize, golden scales, and then in the same line you thought dragon princess is a BDSM kinkster and hero is into BDSM too. Put it together. It's That's when your train of thought derailed. It's like that movie with Denzel Washington where the train is going like super fast and he has to slow it down and it's coming across this really curvy bend, but it can't go at that same speed because if it does, it'll capsize and go into the nuclear radiation power plant thing and cause a giant atom bomb explosion. Guess what happened? You created a catastrophe because your train of thought derailed. It done fell over into that nuclear powerhead thing. And you just blew up the entire book. You did. By putting sex and dragons together. I mean, dragons are awesome mythical creatures. Like, they're like the least talked about and they're just so awesome and there's just so much potential there. It can stand on its own. But you decided that you want to add sex and BDSM to it because BDSM is the in thing. We're turning BDSM into the new Twilight. So BDSM is the new vampire. Everybody wants to write about BDSM, but not everybody can write about BDSM correctly. I get it. 50 Shades of Grey was a hit. But seriously, do you really want your book to be about that? Do you want that to be what defines your book and not your awesome work? Not your awesome talent? Not your awesome creative genius? I'm not saying that smut is bad. I like me some smut. I mean, I own those one-hand reads by C.C. Genovese or Genovese. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but I do love the signing by him. I do. You should get that book. I'm gonna put the link in the description. You promised me paranormal. You promised me fantasy. And you give me erotica. How am I supposed to feel when you promised me fantasy and 90% of the book is sex? Or sexual innuendo? Or sexual tension? And no dragons. 10% is dragons? I signed up for dragons, not sex. I mean, dragons have sex, but Jesus, I'm sure they don't have sex 100% of their lives. You just made everything about sex, and it upset me. It broke my heart because here I am thinking there's this kick-ass dragon princess and I'm gonna read about her, and then you give me sex. Sex sells. Yes, sex sells. But to constantly brand your book or have to plug sexual themes in your book shows me that you lack some kind of creative depth or creative genius if you think that this is what you need to sell your book. If you think an awesome idea as dragons can't stand on its own, then it shows me that you don't even have faith in yourself, in your idea, which was an excellent one. And again, people, I'm just using dragons as a proxy. This is not directed to anybody. This is my journal I'm talking about, but I'm talking about on a whole. Tell me, tell me, what do you think? Do you think that sometimes too much of a good thing is just that? Too much? Or are you okay with reading about the same thing in every genre you read? Let me know your thoughts. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. Let's have a discussion. Thank you for joining us here at Quirky Opinions. I am Lola Kyle, and I hope you enjoyed, well, my opinion. Remember, our favorite quirks are always found in books.